What does a game designer in the AAA industry really do? That is a question that I get a lot when people hear what I do. The short answer is, it's complicated. So I wanted to pull the curtain back and try to explain what a game designer in the AAA industry does. My goal is to help those of you who are interested in the industry to determine whether or not this is the right career choice for you. I'm also going to talk about the main things you need to be successful in this role and the main components of this job. The first thing that people think when I say I design games is that I must be having a lot of fun playing games all the time. Although I do play a lot of games as part of the job, that doesn't paint the whole picture. A game designer does need to play the game, but the way you do it is not for fun. You have to play with a goal in mind, analyzing different aspects of each level, mechanic, or puzzle. Your goal is to improve the game each time you run through it, so it's a very different mindset to play just to enjoy it versus playing it to make it enjoyable for others. To make things even funnier, some people think that a game designer is the guy with ideas and only tells others what to do. While it would be super comfortable and much easier, I am sad to report this is far from the truth, or it isn't the case in my personal experience. Every member in the team has ideas, and they are all valuable. If you want to get into game design because you have great ideas and all you want to do is pitch them, then game design is probably not the career for you. Game design is about creating experiences for users, and just because an idea is good, that doesn't mean you're a good game designer. Translating good ideas into amazing games is far more complicated than that. The game designer takes that idea and creates a good player experience out of it. Designers do this through different ways. They create systems for the player to interact with, they also create levels or worlds that the player can traverse, and they create UX that the player can intuitively navigate. As you can see, this stretches beyond just brainstorming or coming up with a super cool mechanic. Now, in order to look at what designers do, we need to take a look at how the AAA industry works. In the AAA industry, designers are divided into different subsets. In contrast, indie games normally have one designer doing everything. However, in AAA games, since the scope is far bigger and more complex, the team needs to spread out designers across each part of the game to divide and conquer. Based on this, most companies divide the design team in systems design, level design, and UI design. Other game studios have camera designers, AI designers, or even collision designers, so most companies focus on the first three that I mentioned. Just to quickly explain each of the three, a system designer comes up with how a specific system interacts in a given game. Take for example a skill system in a game. The system designer will decide which abilities unlock at which levels, the XP needed to unlock those abilities, etc. Because of this, you need to be good at math if you want to be a systems designer. The level designer is the person who builds the game world. Whether it's the levels of a platformer game that is played from left to right, or huge 3D worlds in games such as The Witcher, these layouts are built by level designers. Sometimes these worlds can be built procedurally, but most of the time they are built by hand. In order to be able to build worlds, one has to know architectural concepts like composition, landmarks, etc., to know how to guide the player and provide a good experience for the player. The UI designer is the person who builds the UX for the game. They take what the system designer comes up with and translate it into language that the user can understand. For example, think of an item inventory where you have to combine elements to create new ones. UI is very important, because if the player can understand your game, then they can play it, even if it's good. Each company has a different workflow. A lot of big companies with massive successful games, like Activision or Blizzard, have designers working on specific parts of the game. However, there are also studios who have designers working as generalists. That is the case where I work, so I do a lot of different things, ranging from documentation to grading narrative or even script features. Not that it's really the same for me. I am always doing something different based on what is needed at the moment. Sometimes I even have to play with 3D modeling to prototype a specific feature in Unity. I personally love this, but some people prefer to stay in their lane and work on something specific during production. What I would say is a big part of a designer job is communication. You work alongside very talented people who think differently, like artists and programmers. Because they have different perspectives and abilities, you need to be clear when you ask something from them. The last thing you want is to waste their time because your communication was unclear. There is a lot of collaboration between different departments in order to get a feature from concept to completion. The better your communication, the more efficient your work will be. Another big part of a designer in the AAA industry is user research. As you all probably know by now, research is key in game development. As designers, we spend a lot of time planning research sessions and knowing what to look for. Then, when you observe the sessions, you take lots of notes, observe people's reactions, and a lot of times get tough feedback. Afterwards, you need to go back to the drawing board and iterate on whatever wasn't clear or left the players puzzled. Game design is a very cool job if you like to collaborate, communicate with people, think about games at a mechanical level, and are willing to take harsh feedback at times. However, it is not a career for everyone. You will need to have thick skin and lots of confidence to keep going, even after people destroy your features or ideas when testing them. Also, if you are not open to feedback or struggle with communications, it might be tough at first. However, if it is what you want and you have the skills to go for it, I think being a game designer is great because you never get bored, you're always thinking about different things, and most importantly, it is super fun. And that's it, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you have any questions about this topic by writing your comment down below. Also, if you like this video, please hit the like button and share it with your friends. See you next time!